Берлин. Побежден.
Ну вот видите!
Hello everyone, I'm Johnny, and today we're taking a look at A Woman in Berlin. This is a film based on a memoir and set during the Red Army occupation of Berlin and Germany, which saw German women experience extreme levels of violence. It's naturally a heavy topic, but a must-watch production. A Woman in Berlin tells the real-life experience of a woman and her neighbors living in Berlin during the Soviet capture and occupation of the city between April 20th and June 22nd, 1945, so both while the war is active and immediately after. The film's focus is on the brutal mass sexual violence that occurred under Red Army occupation. But despite the brutality of the subject matter, the film offers an incredibly balanced and thoughtful perspective on war, soldiers, and civilians. Historians have speculated that upwards of 2 million women were the victims of sexual violence during the Soviet occupation of Germany. It is also known that Western allies committed acts of sexual violence during their occupation, though to a lesser extent. The film's greatest credit is that despite these horrific numbers, the movie successfully walks a fine line at condemning these acts while also attempting to explain them and give them context. The film highlights how easily war can regress a soldier into an uncivilized state. The soldiers in the movie are at times nameless thugs, and at other times you are introduced to them with their various backgrounds. Some have families and wives with no interest in German women. Some have seen their villages and families killed by German occupiers and want revenge. Some of these men have been with the Red Army since they were teenagers and are true products of war from maturity. Some, if not most, are just traumatized alcoholics. The film attempts to explain the links between war, trauma, culture, and sexual violence, but not justify sexual violence. This is essential, as learning a historic event, the when and the where, is pointless without the why. By learning why this violence took place, we can appreciate the true horror of warfare and understand all the more the need to protect civilians, even from our own armies. Everything about A Woman in Berlin is masterfully put together. The acting is incredible. The sets are excellent. The few combat scenes are compelling, with realistic emotion. A Woman in Berlin is based on a memoir by German journalist Martha Hillers. This memoir was originally released anonymously in 1954, but rejected and scorned in Germany, a country at the time not wanting to acknowledge even being the victim of such events. Only in 2003, when a new edition of the book was published in Germany, did it receive the attention it deserved, becoming a bestseller. To this day, the sexual violence put upon the German people by the Red Army is still rejected history in Russia. The memoir and movie chronicles far more than just sexual violence. It's a story about surviving in a destroyed and occupied Berlin. Women survived this occupation in many ways, and others did not. Suicide was not uncommon. A common method for survival meant that many women organized or became semi-professional sex workers, often trading sex for food and/or security. This is another universal the movie accurately highlights. Women who are victims of repeated sexual violence are far more likely to turn to a form of prostitution to at least have some control over their bodies. The main protagonist, as such, forms a strong relationship with an educated Soviet commander, but the relationship is subdued enough not to distract from the overall hardship of the time. Another interesting perspective the film covers is how some of the husbands deal with the violence inflicted upon their wives. The husbands lucky enough to return to their wives would not find them as they once were. Alright, I'm Johnny. Do watch A Woman in Berlin. Naturally, this is going to be a depressing movie, but it's an essential perspective for anyone interested in military history. Like and subscribe to support the channel, and we will see you next time.